We sitting here, I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice. Not a game. We talking about practice.
I'm Amy Lawrence, and I'm up late, always, after hours, hanging out with you on CBS Sports Radio. Check it out, 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific.
We are the Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
Just start fresh someplace else. You know, no job, no family, just walk away. That's my number one fantasy.
Number one fantasy pick, Don.
David Johnson.
David Johnson. Good. That's good.
Great.
Make sure to join the Armchair Quarterbacks right here. We'll answer all your questions, pickups, trades, you name it. You want to win your league? Then listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks.
It's fantasy football time.
What's happening in sports? Find out when it happens. Get the CBS Sports app free in the Android Market and iTunes App Store.
Top Gun Supply stocks a wide range of firearms, so stop on by at Top Gun Supply at 525 State Road 16 in St. Augustine. Top Gun Supply is open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Top Gun Supply, the friendly gun shop.
Hello!
It all starts with just one thing. When recycling, rinse out jars and cans, and avoid recycling wax paper or paper soiled with food. This will reduce recycling contamination. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
Go, Red Sox!
The last segment of the Armchair Quarterbacks app, radio show, and Facebook Live. We're talking baseball. We'll be talking pickups, trades, who's hot, who's not, sleepers and busts. And with that, we'll also be talking how these players perform and what it means to their teams and what to look for. That's the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show, talking baseball.
Go, Red Sox!
And it's time to jump into DraftKings. Go to DraftKings today at DraftKings.com. Golf, NASCAR, soccer, you name it. And of course, Major League Baseball, basketball, hockey, and football. Go to DraftKings.com. Listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks for DFS advice all year round.
This year, choose a yogurt that's right for you. With 2 grams of sugar per 5.3-ounce serving. Too Good Greek yogurt is too good to be true. So Delicious dairy-free yogurt and Silk yogurt alternatives are delicious plant-based swaps you can enjoy by the spoon or add to recipes. Oikos 000 yogurt and Light and Fit yogurt are tasty, non-fat yogurt options. So many flavors, varieties, and possibilities. Elevate any recipe and your everyday with yogurt. Shop at Target.
It's not what he said, you ignorant wretch. Spanish is worse than your English.
The Armchair Quarterback Show. Talking about things that'll piss you off, things that'll make you think, things that'll make you laugh, things all throughout the sports world. The Armchair Quarterback Show. Weekdays, drive time. Talking about things.
Things like a kiss in the dark.
Do you want to lose 18 pounds fast and improve your health? Now you can lose up to 18 pounds in your first 2 months with Nutrisystem. Get delicious breakfasts, lunches, dinners, even snacks and shakes delivered safely to your door. All delivered for free. It's easy to follow, and you'll see results in your first week. Just text BURN to 323232. You'll get your favorite foods made healthier and perfectly balanced.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterbacks.
It's morning.
Yes, and what a lovely morning. Good morning.
Good morning. We've talked the whole night through.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States
We got wind in the face. What are you feeling? I've got a huge crush on that girl, dude. I'm going in. Whoa, you know I'm all about being aggressive, dude, but we need to lay up here, dude. She's got a boyfriend. That guy's jacked. That's a great read, dude. I didn't see that.
I need some action. I haven't been laid in a year and a half. How many times do I got to tell you, man? Your standards are too high. You see that girl from across the bar? She's no eagle, but she's been eyeing you like a hawk that hasn't eaten in 4 days. She wants you bad. She is a solid bogey, okay? Is that going to help the scorecard? Are you going to go home to the boys tomorrow and brag about it? Probably not. But who do you think you are? You're going to come out of a cold streak and shoot a 69. Stop trying to hit bombs when you haven't hit a fairway in 18 months. Get your head out of your ass and hit an iron off the tee. Let's go. Get in there.
Armchair.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. The Dallas Cowboys will not pick up Leighton Vander Esch's fifth-year option for 2022, according to his agent, Ron Slavin, which will make the 2018 first round an unrestricted free agent after the upcoming season. Vander Esch's injury history is the biggest reason. He missed 13 games over the past 2 seasons, starting with the neck injury that required surgery in 2019. The Tennessee Titans' 4th-round draft pick, Rashad Weaver, has been charged with the Pittsburgh Police Department 1 count of simple assault in connection to an incident that stems back from April 18th at 2:28 a.m. According to the police report, officers found a woman lying on the ground surrounded by a group of people on South 17th Street between East Carson and Bingham Streets. Weaver was not on the scene when the police arrived. One witness account said Weaver punched the woman. Another witness said she saw the woman fall to the ground but did not see Weaver punch her. It is to be noted the woman didn't have an injury consisted to be with a punch to the head, according to the criminal complaint filed by Officer Anderson O'Kelly on Friday. Major League Baseball is back to a full slate today at 7 p.m. Eastern. The Yankees host the Astros. This is the first time the Astros will have been to the Bronx since the controversy that came up in the 2019 offseason. Braves are at the Nationals. It's Huascar Noah against Joe Ross. The Red Sox host the Tigers. Nick Pivetta hits the mound as the Dodgers and Clayton Kershaw are at the Chicago Cubs and Alzolay. Jacob deGrom against Kim at 7:45 is must-see TV. And at 9:38, it's Angels versus Rays. Jose Quintana takes the mound for the Halos. Brewers and Phillies, Lauer versus Nola. Dylan Cease and Jeff Hoffman match up in a good one with the White Sox versus the Reds. Indians and Royals get it going at 8:10 p.m. with Mike Minor on the mound. Alex Wood and the Giants invade Colorado at 8:40. And the Pirates will try not to get no hit again out at San Diego. In the NBA, Mavs at Heat tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern. Suns and Cavs, Hornets and Pistons are also tipping off at 7. The Nets and Bucks on TNT, a rematch from Sunday, is at 7:30. While the Warriors and Pelicans tip at 8. Kings and Thunder, and Raptors Clippers finish up the doubleheader on TNT. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for more of the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast. Good morning. It's time to wake Good morning. It's time to wake up, y'all. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, the Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for Southern sports talk. Good morning. I'm Mac McGee, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. The Green Bay Packers are in trouble. Not only does Aaron Rodgers want out, their best wide receiver, he's a free agent, and he is waiting his options on whether or not he is going to resign. How quickly that franchise could fall. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks. We lost Steven. He'll be popping back. There he goes. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports and YouTube Live.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man. With a groove on his head. Yeah, the
Hey, howdy, hi, top of the morning to you. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. Mac McGee sitting alongside Stephen Trosh. Justin Waller is on the way. We'll explain that here in a little bit. And Stephen, how the hell are you, sir? You're muted. Yeah, Stephen, are you there?
Got this plan.
Okay, I don't know what's going on with your internet. Miami Dolphins, their draft. Let's go ahead and dive into it. You keep popping out of the picture. Your cable bill. Your internet bill. Pay a bill. You keep popping out of the picture, dude. What's going on with the Miami Dolphins and the NFL draft grades on that? Hello? All right, I don't know what the hell he's doing. We'll go ahead and switch gears, and we'll go ahead and Justin will hear it in a little bit, so we'll get into some of that. Let's go ahead and get into what is happening in the world of sports. Boy, the NBA is participating in the South China International Open. South China International Open. And this is more of the bootlicking that went on last year. State-run CCCTV pulled NBA games this year. So the NBA has decided that they will participate in the South China International Expo, making even more fans mad the few that are still left watching NBA games. Chad Ochocinco, John Johnson, same guy. He is set to box later this year. We don't have the details of that, but that was a big deal. I would watch that as long as if it's pay-per-view of the health, then I'm not going to watch a 43-year-old has been getting his brains kicked in. Thursday Night Football moves to Amazon in 2022. It was originally supposed to be 2023, 2022 exclusively. If you don't have Amazon, you will not be able to watch the National Football League on Thursday nights. That is a big deal to a lot of people who don't have it. Bills pick up Josh Allen's fifth-year option, and cancel culture is coming after Snow White. We'll get into more of that later on. Jeez Louise. Steven, can you hear us and can you speak? Get yourself muted. Can you hear us and can you speak?
I can hear you now.
All right. Okay, what a disaster. The Dolphins, their draft. Let's get into it and get into it quick because we're gonna run out of time here. The Miami Dolphins draft, I thought that they had a pretty darn good draft. I gave them an A-minus. Very rare that I give A's for drafts. So for all intents and purposes, I don't think they could have done much better. There's a few things I might have done differently, but all in all, they get their kid Waddle. I thought Phillips is going to be I think he's going to be a front runner for Defensive Player of the Year in their system. They'll have a chance to shine whether or not he gets to work in. We'll see. Jevon Holland was a good get at safety. I probably would have went a little different direction. And Liam Eichenberg, the offensive tackle at Notre Dame, was a good pick at the second round 10th pick, but I think I would have flip-flopped those and I would have went for some of the tackles that were available at the second
round fourth pick, and I would worry about safety down the road. Hunter Long, tight end, could be a good prospect. He didn't light up the scoreboard in college, but he was playing with an offense that just basically woke up on his final year. And who the hell knows about offensive tackle from UMass and the running back Jared Dix? I do remember him at Cincinnati, and he should be a good special teams fit. What say you about the Miami Dolphins?
I mean, I he adds an element to that offense that it desperately we got well.
You're breaking up terribly. We can hear like bips and burps and stuff, man. There's absolutely no sound coming through. I don't know if it's because you're not connected to internet or what, but it is terrible. Try it one more time.
No, I love what the Dolphins did. Jalen Waddle was a little bit of a reach at 6, but I mean, like he was the second receiver on their board. You can't argue there. Love the pick with Phillips. They really needed help on the line, and that really fills a need. He can do it all. He can pass rush, stop the run. He's a perfect pick there. I've been hearing rumors that they did want Devontae Williams with that second-round pick, but you can't go wrong with Holland there. Flores builds his teams through the secondary, and especially in this day and age, that's what you need. He's a playmaking safety. It's exactly what the Dolphins want. He's the best safety in the draft. And like you said, they filled a need on with Liam Eichenberg in the third round from Notre Dame. He's a tackle, gives him depth on the offensive line. I would have loved to see him out of running back a little bit earlier, but I think Flores and Greer have basically let the Dolphins fan base know he does not prioritize the running back position. He loves what he's got in Gaskin. I mean, like you said, Dolphins could not have done much better.
All right, I guess my microphone is coming in staticky because of the interference off of that. I'm gonna see if I can play with that for a second. What's your thoughts on the New England Patriots? While I try to fix this.
Oh, like it's already much better. You're good.
Okay.
No, Patriots. I mean, they got their guy in Mac Jones without having to trade up. I mean, that's a win right there. Christian Barmore is a great pick. Gives some really good depth on the defensive line. Other than that, they killed the draft. I mean, I feel like they could have used another skill player. I mean, like Ramondre Stevenson is good. He's more of a LeGarrette Blount type. I mean, I just don't see him contributing too much for where he went. But I mean, overall, the Patriots went and filled in a lot of needs. They get a lot of players back from they missed COVID last year. I think we should see a completely different team in 2021.
Yeah, I thought the Patriots did a phenomenal job. The number one thing was the fact that they got the quarterback that I'm telling you right now everyone's going to regret. Everyone is going to
regret not drafting.
Sorry, I'm trying to do three things at once. They're going to regret not grabbing. I think he's going to be the quarterback that outside of Trevor Lawrence will have the best season this coming year. Because I think Zach Wilson is going to struggle a little bit. He's not coming to the best team on the planet. Justin Fields will struggle. They probably won't even start with Justin Fields, even though I think they should, because Andy Dalton looked absolutely atrocious last year. But, we don't make those decisions. I don't think he'll sit as long as some people think, because the simple fact of the matter, if Charles Nagy doesn't win, he's going to be fired. So he can't just sit there on his throne and say, well, we'll develop him. He's got to get developed and ready to roll quick. So they're going to try to win probably early on the first week or so with Dalton. If things aren't rolling well, if they're not finding ways to win with him, you might see Fields sooner than later. Trey Lance won't start and probably won't start the first year. And that's why I'm looking at San Francisco's draft as a bust, because if you spend your third pick overall, when you trade up for a guy, he's the number 3 pick overall. If he doesn't play not only well, but play a predominant part of the snaps in 2021, you've wasted a pick. This is a team that was middle of the pack at best last year, and Jimmy Garoppolo just has not looked that good, to be perfectly honest with you. So to me, that was a little bit of a head scratcher. I get that they think that he's a long-term fit, and I totally get that. And he very well may be. But then why not sit down at number 12 and grab him? Because I think he would have been there. I don't really think you had to have. I think if Houston sits there, they may or may not have gone quarterback, and then you could just react. So they gave up a lot of draft capital for a kid that's going to be a project. And so, but as far as the Patriots go, I thought that they had a very good draft. As always, they always draft well. If they aren't drafting well, there's something wrong with the universe, because even when we don't think that they're having a good draft, the New England Patriots pull off a good draft. I like the Mac Jones. The Christian Barmore, I cannot believe he fell to the second round. He was a first-round talent. Ronnie Perkins, you could argue that he was a second-round talent, along with Stevenson, both the guys out of Oklahoma. Now, once you get later in the draft, it's kind of needs and fits and all that kind of stuff. The Bills, we didn't get a whole lot of fanfare for the Bills draft this year. I don't remember seeing it on many of these reaction shows nationally. What did you think about the Bills draft in 2021?
I mean, they watched what happened in the Super Bowl and said, we need to replicate that. They spent their first 2 picks on edge rushers. That was the one thing they couldn't do last year, was stop Mahomes. And as we saw in the Super Bowl, the best way to stop him is to get pressure. So I think they went all in trying to get, was it Rousseau and Carlos Basham? I mean, I love the potential there. I mean, other than that, it was just kind of, filling some needs. It wasn't really drafting any kind of difference makers. It was just bolstering the depth and getting some much needed depth. I mean, they've got the skill position set. I think they would have looked to go Etienne with that 30th pick if he was there, but I think at this point they're happy with Moss and Singletary. I'm gonna give them a B-, but still a pretty good draft.
I wasn't overwhelmed with their draft. I could live with the B-. I was thinking more C+, but that really comes down to how you perceive what a B- and C+ is. Because there are some people that don't give really bad grades in drafts. I know I read so many articles over the weekend, and some of them said, you just simply don't give someone an F. To give them an F, they would have had to have not drafted. So,
or taking a kicker in the second round,
or or even worse, draft a guy who's injured, and you're just gonna, or do what the Titans did and go out there and draft a guy, and then you find out the guy freaking may or may not have committed assault 2 weeks ago. So there's that going on. But I thought it was a solid draft. The fact that they went after Basham from Wake Forest, he's rated high, but I'm going to tell you as an ACC fan, and I think you can agree, I was never concerned with Basham when we were playing Wake Forest, and Florida State's not any good. And so to draft him that high, I would have thought it would have been a guy who wreaked havoc when we played him. And I don't really remember him standing out on the page. He was decent, but I would have never thought when I saw him play, that's a first round guy. So that one kind of is a head scratcher to me. All right, moving on from that, we go to the Jets. And what did you think of their draft? Because I thought they did a pretty good job.
I mean, the long and short of it is they had the second overall pick and didn't take the second best quarterback on the board. I mean, there really isn't that much to it. I mean,
who was the second quarterback on the board in your world?
Justin Fields.
Maybe. I don't think so. I think it's going to be Zach Wilson. He can do the whole pack. He can make all the throws. He can do things that Justin Fields can't do, and he can do everything that Justin Fields can do. So I really think that's a preference. That's also comes down to what kind of system you're planning on running. Justin Fields, I mean, remember, as much as we were all in love with him after he beat Clemson, and then he didn't play terrible, but he didn't play great against Alabama. Justin Fields' entire career was spotty, where he didn't show up in big games and put up big numbers because defenses could figure him out. Northwestern mainly is the one that jumps out at me. So as impressed as I was with him with Clemson, I was not that impressed with him when it comes to the play that he put out there on the field against Northwestern. And then the other thing I'll throw at this, all I heard all weekend, some of the arguments, and tell me where I'm going wrong with this, is that people saying, well, you shouldn't be drafting Mac Jones because he's surrounded by a bunch of talent, and he was. But wasn't Justin Fields too? Justin Fields played at freaking Ohio State. That's nothing but draft picks that come out of Ohio State. Normally, every year when you see the list of players who came out of Ohio State, players from the NFL that came out of the top colleges, normally Ohio State leads the list. Zach Wilson played with BYU. He was not surrounded by an enormous amount of talent, but he put big numbers up. So I mean, I really think that really comes down to Zach Wilson could end up being the best quarterback in the draft. I don't think he will be. I think it'll be Trevor Lawrence. But if you do like him over Zach Wilson, I get it. I just don't know necessarily if I'm going to ding them for drafting the quarterback that they think fits them. They didn't go out and draft Trey Lance is my point. Because when you draft that high, you've got to have that guy be an instant contributor, no matter what the position is, right? Like, you're not going to draft an offensive lineman and say, well, we hope in a couple of years he can really be good. No, you're going to draft a guy, an offensive lineman up in the, where'd Sewell go to? Detroit?
Yeah.
They expect him to start day one, don't they? They don't.
Oh, yeah.
They don't go, oh, well, if we can really cultivate you, maybe by the end of the season or maybe by next year, you'll be ready to hit the field. And so that's why I think when you pick a number one pick, a number two, a number three overall, whatever it is, the guy's got to be able to perform right then. I believe Zach Wilson will be playing on opening day. I believe Trevor Lawrence. I do believe Justin Fields. I don't think Trey Lance is going to be there. In your heart of hearts, kind of circling back to the Patriots, do you think Mac Jones starts, or do you think they'll start with the terrible Cam Newton experiment again, and then eventually it'll be like, all right, to hell with this, Matt, get in there.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if Mac plays any kind of meaningful snaps this year
at all.
I mean, they've got Cam Newton. I think he's on a 1-year deal. Let Mac Belichick is going to be the kind of guy to let Mac sit. Let him learn. There's no reason to rush him.
Except for the fact that I believe Bill Belichick hates to lose. And
Cam Newton's going to win with Mac Jones? Throwing a Nelson Aguilar and
I think they're going to win more than with throwing with Cam Newton. Do I think he's starting week 1? No. I think the over-under would be around week 6, week 7-ish. I haven't looked at their schedule, so it probably comes down to bye weeks.
I don't think schedules are out yet.
Oh, no, that's right. It's coming up here in a couple of weeks. The opponents are out, but the actual schedule is not out. I would just be surprised if Cam Newton is the starter the entire year, because he was so bad. And I know he said all the right things and they signed him back, but he was so bad. If you're a Dolphins fan like you are, you want Cam Newton playing all year long because he was terrible. Anyone they put in cannot be worse than Cam Newton.
I mean, like, you're also assuming 2021 Cam Newton will be the same exact version of 2020 Cam Newton. There's plenty of years before that to show that there is definitely something more to what we saw.
Yeah, but he only got older. He didn't get younger. Unless he's Benjamin Buttons, that argument doesn't stand. He's gotten progressively worse every single year. And he is not who he used to be because he can't use his feet. And he was never an accurate passer, but he could always get away with it for some of the other things that he brought to the table. Now he's just a washed up old fart. What are your DFS picks for the day, sir?
Pitching wise, I mean, like if we're going the top three, you can never go wrong with DeGrom. Trevor Bauer's got a good matchup as well, but out of those three, I like Aaron Nola against Milwaukee. They're a pretty high strikeout team against right-handed pitching. And he's the cheaper of the three. If we're going cheaper, I like Johan Oviedo. He's facing the Mets today. That is a purely whenever DeGrom pitches, the Mets score 0 runs. So, I mean, it is almost without fail. Oviedo has a shot to score some points tonight.
Do you not just feel for DeGrom as much as I don't like the Mets? Do you not feel for DeGrom sometimes?
I saw one stat. He's at like 28 starts in his career with 6+ innings, 10+ strikeouts, and his team scores 1 or less runs. That happened to Randy Johnson 5 times in his career.
How many times has it happened to DeGrom?
25 at least.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Jeez. I mean, it really is a comedy of errors. Remember the Cy Young that he won? I guess it's been longer than I think it has. It's probably been 4 or 5 years ago. But he had a losing record. But everyone passed it because they're like, the Mets don't score runs. And every year we get the same narrative. They're going to score this year. That offense is legitimate. It's going to blow it up. And then it's Groundhog Day all over again. What's your walk-off for the day, sir?
Walk-off, just continuing on the DFS. Looking for bats today. I love game stacking Boston, Detroit. Both of those teams.
I like that. All right, brother. We will see you very soon as Saturday, and I'll explain it to everybody here after the break. We'll be back in a flash here on the Armchair Quarterbacks. Keep it locked in here to CBS Sports Radio.
I'm bad at sex. There's a lot of thrashing and thumping, but nothing really gets done. I'm like a broken dishwasher.
The Armchair Quarterbacks radio show. We're talking baseball. That's the Armchair Quarterbacks talking baseball. Fantasy sports is back, and it's time to jump into DraftKings. Go to DraftKings today at DraftKings.com. Golf, NASCAR, soccer, you name it. And, of course, Major League Baseball, basketball, hockey, and football. Go to DraftKings.com. Listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks for DFS advice all year round.
Amazon Prime members now get free grocery delivery with a minimum order. You'll get your groceries with 2-hour delivery. So in that time, you can finally figure out where the biblioteca is, learn how to play the acoustic guitar, and I guess get a puka shell necklace. Do a makeup tutorial, but realize halfway contouring is hard, and you're beautiful just as you are. Whatever it is you're doing with your time, your shopper will be carefully picking out your favorite organic meats, produce, dairy, and snacks while providing contactless delivery to your door. Free 2-hour grocery delivery.
CBS Sports Radio, your home for all things sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, coast to coast. Great sports talk expected here. CBS Sports Radio.
Hey, Jacksonville, winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com/radio to save 50% on your first service. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com/radio today and get a lawn to be proud of.
Bell looks, throws for the end zone for Natil. He's got it! Florida! Touchdown, Florida! 17-16 with 36 seconds left. Going for the 2. Here is Bell at the line. Bell rolling. Bell's got the time. He's under pressure. He's 18-17. Oh my! And that's it. Florida has won 18-17. One of the greatest comebacks I've ever seen.
We live in a world now that welcomes and nurtures the screwball in all of us. Hey, it's a new decade, people. Time to get a little nutty. Treat yourself to Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, a smooth flavor that combines two of America's favorites, peanut butter and American whiskey. So no more social awkwardness. Time to embrace who you truly are. Get out there and make friends. And be sure it starts with Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. It's available nearly everywhere. Learn more at screwballwhiskey.com. Infinium Spirits. Please enjoy responsibly.
How the hell can you wear a Bears jersey at a Packer game?
Okay, maybe he doesn't understand why it's wrong. Let me tell you in a way how you can understand. The Packers are like Jedi, and you're wearing a Go Darth Vader jersey.
Donna, that's ridiculous. The Jedi don't play football. They play Manuku. Foreman, this is worse than when you wore the Air Supply t-shirt to the Aerosmith concert.
Good morning, CBS Radio and YouTube Live. Played that because today is May 4th. So for all you Star Wars nerds out there, may the 4th be with you. Justin Woe, how are you, sir?
Well, we're getting all the references this morning. I was oblivious to it, so thanks for filling me in there.
Somebody tweeted it this morning, and I was like, is it? It's funny. I always overlook this, and this is the Alcoholics in us, Justin. I think more about Cinco de Mayo than May the 4th, right? So I don't even.
What are we pre-gaming? I mean, we're getting ready for tomorrow.
I guess I don't know. I think that I don't know if there's a celebration type. I think they just sit around and watch the movies. I know you'll see a lot of baseball stadiums where they'll have people coming in dressed up, and I think there's some kind of a prize to it, or there's some kind of a theme. If you go to the ballpark this evening and you'll see them dressed up like Chewbacca, I think there's something to do with that. Like if you dress up like, Darth Vader or whatever, you get something, or maybe they're just doing it to be. I bet you wouldn't get as many participants doing that in the middle of July or August. In May, okay. Maybe you can sit at most baseball stadiums in the evening in May and have a Chewbacca thing on, but you do that in July and August, man. You're talking about getting the butt sweats.
Like I've got the starter kit, and I'm not wearing a costume, so yeah, July and August is pretty brutal, man.
I could not imagine getting in one of those costumes. When I was a kid, I always wanted one, but now that I'm an adult, like, oh my god.
I used to work at a place that would put one out at the road and flip signs, and I won't blast them here, but that was a punishment. Last man to work Saturday morning, because this was a young man's profession, or females. Last one to work Saturday morning was in the chicken suit. So yeah, you're out there at the road, you want to talk for a rough day. You didn't show up late on Saturday.
Worked at a first came to Jacksonville. Well, I guess I probably shouldn't say their name on air, but I worked at a restaurant that sold chicken wings, and that was their big thing. Okay, they had other things, but their big thing was chicken wings, and they used to put a kid out there in a chicken suit. I forget where they got it, but it was a skinny kid. But I was like, man, that kid get out here in Jacksonville, Florida, in the middle of you say spring in Jacksonville, you're still talking about 90 degrees some days. And he would get out there, and so we were way deep into a huge strip mall, so they would have him way up out at the front, so they couldn't realistically see him from the door. And so they would have to go by to check on him from time to time, because he was kind of a doofus, but that's why he ended up with the chicken suit. Justin, they rolled up on that dude one day. He was in the chicken suit, but he was in his car asleep, about halfway in and halfway out, just dead ass asleep. And the owner / general manager walked up on him. You see this kid walking back in with his dauber in the dirt, man, taking off his chicken suit and headed right back to the dish room because the owner's like, that's enough of that chicken suit. I'm not paying for some guy to sit there and sleep. He said it's bad if he was sleeping, quote unquote, taking a break. He said, but he was literally halfway in and halfway out of his car, hanging out of a chicken suit that had the company's logo on. So it looked like he was drunk, according to the owner, even though the kid wasn't drunk, but it was pretty damn funny. I hadn't thought about that in years. Anyways, did you see this thing with LeBron? Or I say LeBron, it's not LeBron. The NBA, they're planning it being at some kind of I don't really understand what it is, but according to the news cycle that I saw, participating in the South China International Expo. And I think what it is, it's almost like it's basically all your different companies are out there showing off their gear at some big expo where Chinese businesses are going to be putting on their stuff on display, but there's other businesses as well that aren't from China. And you're trying to talk companies or stores to carry your junk, is essentially what it is. But evidently this isn't too far from where all the stuff that has been covered about the Hong Kong incidents. And of course, we've seen the videos where the people are in the blindfolds and on their knees and all that, just terrible stuff. And they're going in there, and the press release, I guess it was let out in March, but no one really saw it because it was kind of like snuck out the back door on a Friday afternoon kind of thing. What do they call that? The Friday drop or whatever it is. That the NBA said they will be there because they're trying to mend the relationship with the Chinese government, because the Chinese government took the NBA games off of their TV. And I guess they have not put them back on since the whole Daryl Morey thing from 2 years ago. And yet you're going to get the social justice warriors like LeBron James or whatnot sit there and try to tell you that things need to be changed in this country. And he's got himself linked to that junk. What say you?
Well, I believe they're back on over there, and I'm trying to find.
Oh, they are now? Okay.
I believe I'm trying to find the article. Tom just sat down with Adam Silver, and man, I wish I had this in front of me, and I will find it in just a second. But I believe I saw it in The Athletic. I will get it to you here in just a second. But Tom sat down and interviewed him about it, and it's not a publication I read often, but it was an interesting topic because they actually asked them about the social justice message in the summer of 2020 and how they allow things. And I mean, it was backpedaling on Silver's, but essentially I took from it of, hey man, it's the only people still watching. He didn't say it, but he said millions of people, it's the most popular thing to watch in China. So apparently the TV ratings, we know that they're dropping and plummeting majorly here in the US. So it sounds as if that's their business model. It's why they can't step on toes, because they go under if they chastise China. Now, they could probably get the American watcher back in if they would actually stand up and do something for it. You could probably pull some viewers back to TV sets, but it's just a very interesting article, and the way it sounded was, it was non-apologetic. It was like, yeah, we're not going to boycott them. We're trying to take care of things that we can take care of near home that are close and personal. But essentially, we like cashing them big checks from China because they're the only ones watching on TV. I mean, it was that it was well said, but it was that arrogant. I mean, it came across that way. I don't know how any other.
Here's the thing. I don't even have a problem with them making their money in China. But if you're going to stand for all the social justice junk, then you got to do it across the platform as a humanitarian. You can't just pick that, we're going to be good people when it comes to the United States issues, but when it comes to China's issues, to hell with those people. I mean, you're talking about a significant portion of the world's population is in that area. And so if you're saying you don't care, to me, that comes off as racist, because you just don't care about them because they're Asian, because they're Chinese. Maybe not racist, but definitely nationalist. And I don't think that's right. Look, they have that whole thing going on over in India right now where the coronavirus is just kicking their ass. I think they're at 20 million coronavirus not patients, but what do you call it? I can't think of the term, but basically they have 20 million confirmed coronavirus infected over this pandemic, and they don't have enough of the ventilators, et cetera, right? Well, we have an overstock of it. And I just think as a humanitarian, as a country, we should lend a hand to them. Don't do it to where it cripples you in case you get another wave. But as many as that they say that we have on stock, as humanitarians, we should help the people of India, right? Because at the end of the day, I mean, we're all in this world together, right? Who the hell knows if any of these Independence Days or any of these other movies ever come to fruition? We might all need each other's backs if the aliens show up. You know what I mean?
And I get it that you can spread that humanitarian effort through the game of basketball, but you can't do it hypocritically and just have a blind eye to your point. And I found the article and I sent it to you. It's on Twitter. So I found the Twitter article so you could share it shortly, but it breaks down. And I mean, this is just, I'll make one point and then you can share it and everybody can read it and take their own. But on China here, the question, and this is Silver's response: I'll take a step back there and restate the NBA's mission, which is to improve people's lives through the game of basketball. And we think exporting NBA basketball to China and to virtually every country in the world continues to fit within our mission. Blah, 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 blah. That says I like to cash checks. Does it not?
It does.
I mean, I like to cash checks.
I gets paid.
And then they go on to talk about the ratings, and he says that he can't directly tie them to last summer and the fall. And I'm like, okay, all righty. But let's just take that out. I mean, you have, wow, read the article. Maybe that's something we should break down and get into later in the week when we both have time to break it down, because it goes into some of the shoe contracts. They have 2 shoe contracts that are made in what are supposedly, I guess, sweatshops, and it's pretty much out of the Muslim detention camps that they're running them out of. So it's crickets on things like that when you're doing it, and be interesting to see if the hypocrisy ever ends with Silver.
Yeah, so I mean, when you look at this, it makes you feel dirty if you're an NBA fan wearing their junk. That's really what it does to me. Maybe I'm in the minority, but as a Celtics fan, it makes me not want to wear a Celtics hat out in public, because even though I still pull for the Celtics, I'm pulling for jerseys I pulled for 30 something years. It feels dirty to me to go out and wear their stuff. I'm talking about just going to the grocery store. I actually think about this stuff now. Ever since last year, when I go out to the grocery store, you know I have a million hats, right? Mm-hmm. And I've actually got 3 bins, and then I've got an actual shelf in my closet, and then I got 3 bins, and I just grab them. And if I grab a Celtics hat and I'm actually going out somewhere, I immediately drop it and grab something else, because I'm like, I'm not wearing that out, man. I don't want to hear first of all, I don't want to hear the junk, but the other thing is I don't want someone to go, yeah, man, I stand with the NBA too. They're doing the right thing in China. That would be like the worst thing that could happen in public, because I would be like, have you lost your mind?
And you look at what we've done here in the States, and we removed an all-star game from Charlotte, North Carolina over a bathroom bill as to who could and could not use a bathroom. Now, we had no problem hurting the community of Charlotte and the Americans that live and breathe and work these communities, small business owners, the fans, and we just ripped that income. Same thing Major League Baseball just did with Atlanta on I'm going to say is a political stunt. That's my opinion. You can think it's whatever, but you rip it out of there and you hurt that, and you have no problem hurting your own. You know, you speak out of one side of mouth that you want to affect the things and change that you can do here at home, but you're directly impacting them negatively with your knee-jerk reaction, political influence. But yet you won't stand up to that when it's You will for a bathroom bill, but you won't for genocide and human rights because it's a different country that you cash multi-million-dollar checks from. That's hypocrisy in its finest.
Yeah, the thing about the whole thing with MLB, the one thing I will say that I applaud, I was more proud to be a Braves fan than any other time because they fought back and they basically said, Major League Baseball, you're wrong. They can't say anything too crazy because you don't want to cut your feet off. But when they released a statement and they went on the broadcast that night after releasing that statement and doubled down and basically said you're wrong, I was proud to be a Braves fan. So I don't have an issue wearing the MLB stuff out. I'm not as quick to. I do have a few hats that have just the MLB logo. That kind of is a gray area for me because if I wear it, I'm really thinking of just the sport of baseball, but I don't want people to think I'm like backing their play on what they did because they tried to say it wasn't political as far as, like a motive, but then it came out later that they were talking to Stacey Abrams about this and got part of her counsel and a couple of the other Warriors councils, which is how they came to that agreement. And then Stacey Abrams tried to pretend like she never said anything like that, even though she had released a op-ed in, I want to say it was a USA Today. Yeah, it was USA Today, talking about how it was that basically you shouldn't support the bill and businesses should use the power of boycotts, essentially. And then it comes out, was it last week? I think it was. That evidently, Justin, they went back and they edited that. They edited that without saying anything, without releasing anything. Someone just happened to stumble across it because they were doing fact checking, and they're like, "Wait a minute, she never said this." And people had screenshots. Goes, "Yes, she did. It's right here." So, USA Today, I haven't not read them in years. I will definitely purposely stay away from them now because when you are disingenuously editing things after the fact because you want her to not look bad, what the hell ever happened to journalism? I mean, the journalism integrity is out the window.
I don't think they have it anymore. I mean, is this still a career or profession? What do they even call it in school nowadays?
Anybody, there might be a writer here and there, but as far as like an outlet, even The Athletic, which we both like, they have some.
It's taking a big shift, yeah.
Because they're all bozos. Because I remember when I was in college, and I was just dealing with the electronic media of it. They were all loons, left-handed loons.
Well, we saw a shift. We don't have storytelling anymore. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I mean, we've lost the storytelling. There's journalists don't break down issues or chase them, investigate them, and report their findings. They write hot take, shock jockish headlines, and they get paid off performance of clicks because it's a digital platform now, and it's not newspaper, print, or magazines. I mean, the digital world is led by clicks and that traffic, and so there doesn't have to be, apparently, I think there should be. I'm sure there's probably laws that say there should be, but I know nothing about the actual physical print portion of it. But it doesn't matter what the content on the inside is, true or false, it doesn't matter. They just need the click to get you there. And I think that's where it just has fallen by the wayside and gone to crap. You need a dinosaur to revamp and come back in and change that. Where's Paul Harvey when you need him?
Jeez. I mean, does he have a grandkid or something that could be out there doing something? Or maybe he is, and he's in the Untitled right now.
Maybe Matt's related to him. But he's not pitching very well.
Good news on the Braves front. It looks like Max Fried comes back tomorrow, and I just hope he comes back into the form that we need him. We'll just shift gears off of that other stuff because we could talk about that forever. By the way, while we're on that kind of subject, did you see that now trying to cancel culture Snow White?
No.
Just give me your best guess on why they're trying to.
Because the prince kisses her while she's asleep.
Yes.
She didn't say yes.
Yes. Yes, because she did not give her permission or consent.
Well, what about the person that roofied her? I mean, and drugged her and put her in that position. Can we cancel culture that one and not the guy that saved her?
I mean, what the hell? I mean, what are we talking about? I thought it was going to be because it was a man kissing a woman and that was true love's kiss, right? And you can't say that a man only has true love's kiss. With a woman, it can be it. So I thought we were going down that road, and then they went with what you said.
I'm surprised the one of the
I thought it was going to be because of
intoxication or something.
I thought originally it was going to be because of her last name, and when that didn't start going, I was like, "Is this got something to do with a dude and a chick?" I was like, if you don't put in the right things in your search bar, you can't even get regular porn anymore.
Virtual prom.
Exactly. You can't get your virtual prom anymore, Sean. You have to be very specific. Chick and guy.
I don't know. With Furbies, you might not want to use the word chick.
Well, that's true. Female and male.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for today. They got to end. The Braves have to end this schneid. I'm a little nervous. It looks like TBD is pitching, so no telling who that is going against Ross for the Nationals.
Today, it's supposed to be Noah. Is what Yahoo Sports says, and it's what I think it was ESPN I was on yesterday. Could have been MLB.com. I don't remember.
MLB right now has Ross listed, and they're still TBD on the Braves, which could be Noah, especially if Fried's going.
They were saying Fried could pitch, but they expected him to pitch Wednesday, so maybe they're still up in the air. From my understanding, it's Wasker Noah. I haven't been a lot of okay. So as according to Yahoo, he's pitching today. We all know that that's not cement. Like, ooh, they caught some hell last year during fantasy sports because, and it really wasn't their fault. It was the whole coronavirus thing, but they weren't updating these fast enough. If people had the wrong people in the lineup, so I believe it's Wasker Noah versus Joe Ross.
Well, you have to like that for a potential W, hopefully today.
Yeah, Ross has had some good games, but he's also been banged around sometimes.
You want to hear something scary? Have you? I guess just my hockey fandom over the past decade has slowly but surely made me a goal differential guy because it's so important in the hockey standings. But watching it, the Braves this year, dude, they're at a -16 run differential with how in the world is that possible when you're putting up 13s, 10s, 7s, 5s, and we're -16?
Nate Jones alone is -16.
-16. Unbelievable.
What game was it that it went that this weekend it went to extra innings? They had Nate Jones come into the 10th, and someone on Twitter, I have to clean it up, but she said there is no freaking way that Nate Jones is on that mound in this time of the game. And everyone was like, oh, here we go. I mean, I knew we were losing. The moment he came in, I was like, there's no way this guy's going to – because we didn't do a good job at the top of the inning having a guy on second base, and you didn't get him across. Whatever happened to get him over and get him in, right? And this is just normal part of baseball. In the fifth inning, you lead off a double. You got to make sure that you move that runner to third, meaning hitting it to the right side or bunting it, however you want to do it. And then the next guy up has got to find a way to get him in. And I think if you play the top of the inning with that kind of mentality, they're going to give you that run because they're afraid of a big inning. If they try to bring the defense in with a guy on third and less than one out, they could open themselves up to a big inning because they know they're going to be in the same position. Atlanta just does not play. Their fundamentals is trash. And I don't know if you want to put that all on Snicker or if it's just the entire Braves organization, but they're not teaching these kids to hit it to the right side. The only one who does that in those situations is Freddie. That's because he's a lefty and he just happens to pull everything.
Yeah, it's long ball, or strikeout. I mean, there's nothing in between right now. It's a deep pop fly or it's out of there. And I hate to see it. I mean, it's fun. It was nice last year in a shortened season to see the long ball, but man, I just miss the small ball of it because you get annihilated by the teams that are successful at that. I mean, you don't stand a chance if you live and die by the home run. I mean, look, I can name 2 games that we've had 4 single shot home runs in. Those are useless. Guess what? We lost both of those games.
And if Dansby doesn't start hitting, we're going to have to teach the Panda how to play shortstop because hell, we do everything in a shift anyways. We'll just sit his fat ass right in the middle there and go, hey, just play goalie. If it gets near you, just knock it down and throw it over first. It was nice to see the Panda in the lineup this weekend, even though you know they lost, because his fundamentals are there. He just tries to get the base hit. If the home run's there, he's gonna whack it. We all know that, but he just tries to keep everything hit right back up the middle.
We are missing a Markakis dearly this year.
And I don't think it's just his bat. It's also, I think, his presence in the dugout. He was probably the guy that would tell them, guys, get the dude over. Because I feel like Snicker just sits there and watches the game, lets the game happen to him. He just does this number.
Oh, Snick got a pocket flask. Oh, no. He might. That's probably frowned upon nowadays. They sneak it somehow. It's in the sunflower seeds.
Snicker has a lot of characteristics that could make him president. I'll put it that way. I'm waiting for him to fall up the stairs going to bring Nate Jones into the ball game. Oh, we're coming up at the end of time, sir. What is your walk-off for the day?
Next time Snicker brings in Jones, I want the catcher to steal the damn mound and throw it. Have Bobby Cox fit. I mean, just go full blown. Take the mound with him. The rubber.
My walk-off for you is
see you tomorrow, buddy.
Later, bud. All right, we're going to be back in a flash here on the Armchair Quarterbacks. When we come back, Bobby's on the way, and he is going. We're not just sure. He's going to talk about the. Hold on one second. The NFC West and their draft grades. We'll be back in a flash here on the Armchair Quarterbacks. Keep it locked in here to CBS Sports Radio.
We're not just sure. We're HIV positive. Will you stop it with that? What part of this is funny to you? Kyle, we need to try to find out. What part of being infected with a deadly disease do you find funny? I don't think it's funny, Kyle. Then stop saying you're not just sure you're HIV positive.
Armchair.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. The Dallas Cowboys will not pick up Leighton Vander Esch's fifth-year option for 2022, according to his agent, Ron Slavin, which will make the 2018 first round an unrestricted free agent after the upcoming season. Vander Esch's injury history is the biggest reason. He missed 13 games over the past 2 seasons, starting with the neck injury that required surgery in 2019. The Tennessee Titans' 4th-round draft pick, Rashad Weaver, has been charged with the Pittsburgh Police Department 1 count of simple assault in connection to an incident that stems back from April 18th at 2:28 a.m. According to the police report, officers found a woman lying on the ground surrounded by a group of people on South 17th Street between East Carson and Bingham Streets. Weaver was not on the scene when the police arrived. One witness account said Weaver punched the woman. Another witness said she saw the woman fall to the ground but did not see Weaver punch her. It is to be noted the woman didn't have an injury consisted to be with a punch to the head, according to the criminal complaint filed by Officer Anderson O'Kelly on Friday. Major League Baseball is back to a full slate today at 7 p.m. Eastern. The Yankees host the Astros. This is the first time the Astros will have been to the Bronx since the controversy that came up in the 2019 offseason. Braves are at the Nationals. It's Huascar Noah against Joe Ross. The Red Sox host the Tigers. Nick Pivetta hits the mound. as the Dodgers and Clayton Kershaw are at the Chicago Cubs and Alzolay. Jacob deGrom against Kim at 7:45 is must-see TV. And at 9:38, it's Angels versus Rays. Jose Quintana takes the mound for the Halos. Brewers and Phillies, Lauer versus Nola, and Dylan Cease and Jeff Hoffman match up in a good one with the White Sox versus the Reds. Indians and Royals get it going at 8:10 p.m. with Mike Minor on the mound. Alex Wood and the Giants invade Colorado at 8:40, and the Pirates will try not to get no hit again out at San Diego. In the NBA, Mavs at Heat tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern. Suns and Cavs, Hornets and Pistons are also tipping off at 7. The Nets and Bucks on TNT, a rematch from Sunday, is at 7:30, while the Warriors and Pelicans tip at 8. Kings and Thunder and Raptors Clippers finish up the doubleheader on TNT. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for more of the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
Hey, Jacksonville, winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com/radio to save 50% on your first service. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com/radio today and get a lawn to be proud of.
Take the road less traveled in the newly redesigned Hyundai Santa Fe. With available H-Track all-wheel drive to help you get off the beaten path a little further together. And intuitive safety features that can help you see what's waiting around the bend. Plus, with generous room for 5 and comfortable available Napa leather seating, you can go for more drives as a family without driving each other crazy. Find new adventures together in the Hyundai Santa Fe.
This is Jim Rome. Join me in the jungle for your phone calls and the biggest names in sports. Stop by weekdays, noon until 3 Eastern, 9 to noon Pacific.
I took my shot. I didn't mean to hurt you. Something stupid and something painful. At least I know my women.
Good morning. Welcome back here, CBS Sports Radio. Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live. And joining us again today is Mr. Bobby. Bobby, what do you got there? A Preds hat kicking today, don't you? You're, hold on. Let me unmute you there. We had to start muting people as they come in because one of our guys that will remain nameless, Doug, keeps with the smoker's cough in the background when we go to break. So I had to start muting people when they come in. So because of one person, we had it's a long story. But we'd be doing a commercial and you could hear smoke another one.
Wouldn't want that.
Doing fine. So you are a Preds fan, or is it just a hat essentially?
A little bit of both. I'm not too big of a hockey fan. I watch it from time to time, but you know, if I were to pick a team to root for, it'd definitely be the Preds because I do live here around Nashville. So
I should probably record that and leave that as my voicemail because that's essentially how I feel about hockey. I'll watch it every once in a while, but I do now playoff hockey. I'll get into that's fun.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, playoff hockey. The atmosphere is just unmatched. It's incredible.
Regular season hockey is like regular season NBA. They let everybody in the playoffs, so it doesn't really matter. So it's hard for me to get into. If I'm watching NBA when it's not the playoffs, it has to be because it's coming down to the wire. It's like in the last 5 minutes, and it's a team or a player I really want to see. You know, I'm like, I haven't seen this guy play in a hot minute. Like last night, I did watch some of the Pelicans Warriors game, and that was only because it was on like 9 different channels that they were doing the goofy. It was some kind of
superhero stuff. Yeah, I don't know what was going on with that. I saw that on Twitter last night. It was a little bit odd.
It was essentially do you remember in the NFL playoffs when Nickelodeon did their
The
your Saints game?
graphics and all that. Yeah, and they had all those crazy graphics with the SpongeBob and stuff.
Yeah,
I remember that.
something like that, but it was not done as well. I watched it. I only watched that channel because I was curious what it looked like. It was like Nickelodeon did a good job with, because it's for kids, and they were putting the green slime and everything. I thought it was pretty good, and I thought to myself, they should do this more. Work out some kind of deal with the NFL. Pick one game a week, and you'll cultivate more NFL fans growing up as kids, right?
Absolutely.
They're eventually going to hit an age where they're like, I don't need that green junk all over my to watch the game, but that's how you get them into it.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think the go ahead.
No, the only thing I was going to say is the graphics were not impressive. It was colorful. It was kind of bland. I don't know if you saw the graphics, but it's what I expected ESPN to do. It'd be an off-brand version of, because what it is, Disney owns ESPN, and so they're trying to do that. And it wouldn't surprise me if they start putting NBA games on like that to do with kids, like I just said. But they got to get those graphics better.
Yeah, I saw some clips of it on Twitter last night, and there was some like trails behind every 3-point shot. And I saw a video of Iron Man sitting up in the rafters and stuff. It was a little bit strange, but yeah, I guess they're going down the same route that the NFL did with Nickelodeon, trying to get those younger viewers interested in the sport. So
I don't know if that sport does it lends itself to that either.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to do that.
So far back, I think it's good. I think you could pull it off in hockey and you could pull it off in baseball, but with basketball, the camera's a little farther back because they have to because they're trying to get a big. There's too much of the stands involved in your typical shot.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm probably overthinking it. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive right into the Arizona Cardinals. By the way, we got to get out of here on time today because I'm getting my second jab, and I've got like 15 minutes to get up to the freaking place. So
all right, we'll go as fast as we can.
Yeah. So if I start cutting us off, it's because I'm like, okay, got to go.
Gotcha.
The Cardinals, what did you think of their draft?
Honestly, it was there wasn't too many complaints about it. I feel like the way the board shaked out, Zaven Collins was probably the best pick for us. I really like the Rondale Moore pick in the second round. I think he's going to be great in our offense. He'll really kind of take us offense to a next level. He's very explosive. He's a big time playmaker. He's insanely fast. I believe he ran a 4.29 40 time. So I think he'll bring a new element to our offense that we've kind of needed. We haven't really had a consistent deep threat. So having a guy like him will definitely help.
Yeah, I think, look, I thought it was a solid draft. I'm not going to jump up and down about it, but I thought they did a good job. I love the Rondale Moore pick for the value. I could not believe he fell as far as he did. I felt like other teams who had wide receiver needs, they kind of dropped the ball there. They let Kyler Murray get a hold of Rondale Moore. The biggest thing that I'll say about the Zaven Collins pick is that it is definitely a sign that Kyler Murray was lying, because he said that he would have a heavy hand in this year's draft, and there's no way Kyler Murray said, let's go get a linebacker out of Tulsa. So,
especially after drafting a linebacker last year as well, which he wasn't particularly a fan of.
Right. So. And look, shut up and play. You're Kyler Murray. You've been in the league 3 years. You are trying to tell me that you should have your opinion involved in who they should draft when these guys, this is their Super Bowl. See, if Kyler Murray, if you ever get to a Super Bowl, that is your Super Bowl, obviously. But their Super Bowl for the general manager, for the entire front office, including the coaching staff, this is their Super Bowl. They have an entire team of people they spend all year long, and all they do is watch video of college players getting ready for the draft.
Absolutely.
Your input at all. And these NFL quarterbacks are starting to turn into NBA prima donnas where they feel like that they can build the team themselves. NBA, if you're LeBron James and you already have AD, you only need to fill out a couple more things and you're good to go. And they might say, hey, do you want to play with this guy? Okay, I get that. NFL, there's a lot of moving parts, and you don't have the capabilities to tell me who we should draft in the 5th round because we're trying to bolster our special teams.
Yeah. I've never been the biggest.
That never comes up.
Yeah, I've never been a big truster, I guess, of Steve Keim, our GM. He's made some questionable calls in the past, I'd say, that haven't really worked out. I could go on and on about that, but I want to save time, so we're not going to do that.
Sure.
But I do agree that we have a whole scouting team that's spent the past year looking at these guys, watching tape on them, trying to figure out who the right pick is for our scheme, for our needs. We don't need to draft a guy that we have to go out of the way to pick, that will have to work into the offense over time or something. We got to get a guy that we need that's NFL ready, that's going to win now. And I do think the scouts made the best decision, and Steve Keim as well, going with Zaven Collins. I think he's NFL ready. He was an All-American linebacker last year. So I think he'll be ready to go.
They've had some injuries and whatnot to their linebacking core. And so this gives them at least depth, if not I think he's an automatic starter, but it at least gives them depth. And that takes us to the San Francisco 49. Overall, what would you give Arizona's grade? I give it a solid B.
Letter grade, probably B- range. It was just about average. Yeah, like you said, nothing to jump for joy about, but I think it was
fan that you said, man, I really wish we would have went that direction.
When we picked Marco Wilson in the 4th round, I was praying for Jamar Johnson, the safety out of Indiana. I really like him. And I'm not a fan of Marco Wilson personally. I think he's very athletic, but his coverage skills just weren't there. So I think drafting, and I think Jamar Johnson has fell as far as he fell. I think that would have been a phenomenal pick, but
that's
it is what it is.
It's not, look, 3-4 years ago, when in doubt, you draft a Gator defensive player because he was playing under Muschamp. Now, Gators defense is a sieve, and so I'm not as high on. Now, I'm not saying they don't still get athletes; they do, but I'm not as high on going, oh yeah, just draft him because he played for Florida.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Those days are way behind us.
Exactly. Now you're drafting guys from South Carolina. Why? Because Muschamp, that's the one thing he can do. He can teach you defense.
There was a ton of DBs from South Carolina that got drafted. Ton of them.
Will Muschamp, San Francisco, I'm giving them a C+. And the reason why is I don't draft a quarterback number 3 overall after trading up that isn't going to be in my plans to start this year. Now he may start, but that would be because Garoppolo just does terrible.
Yeah, Garoppolo, I think, would have to do awful in training camp and preseason as opposed to lose that job to Lance. Just because I think Lance, I don't think he's NFL ready yet. I think he was worth the 3rd overall pick, and I think he's a boom or bust type of player. But if they hit on that and they develop him right, he's going to be a star.
3rd pick overall is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I see what you're saying with that.
Drafting him, but when you had to trade up to get there, see, if Houston did it, I would. Who was originally sitting there all along? I go, okay, you're pretty sure that you got to trade Deshaun Watson, and if you don't, Captain Rapey over there is going to get may miss some games. Okay, I get it. But because that number changed hands several times and it fell to San Francisco after they had to give up draft capital to get up that high. If they draft Trey Lance with the 12th overall pick, which is I think what they originally had, it was somewhere in that area. Then I say, hey, that's a solid pick. You're building for the future. But when you have to trade your draft capital to come up to get a guy that won't start in week 1, it probably may not start in year 1. That's an issue.
I agree. I do think though, with Garoppolo's injury history and his how questionable he is at quarterback in general, I do think Trey Lance will take over at some point. Do I think he'll start week 1? That's probably not going to happen just because he only has 1 year of college experience and it was at North Dakota State. So there's not much, not a lot of experience, I suppose, with high level talent, So I do think it'll take some time for him to work into the league.
All in all, where do you give
I would say probably low B, high C range. I do like the Lance pick overall, but in general, throughout the whole 7 rounds, I think they could have done a lot better with some picks. So I'll give them about C plus B minus range as well.
Yeah, it was the whole stretch thing for me is where I've got. Look, I know he's coming from the same area as a lot of other players have came out, but I'll also say this for everyone that wants to say, well, a lot of good young players have come from these smaller schools. I get that, but they were ready to go. Carson Wentz, as bad as he was the last year or so, he was pretty good when he came out, but he had a lot of experience behind the center position. That kid had played 1 year in one game, and he looked terrible in the basically exhibition game that they put together. Moving on from them, let's go ahead and dive into the Rams. I think they're one of the more interesting teams this year. Of course, a part of their draft, you kind of have to take into consideration they did trade picks to get Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
But that with that being said, if I formulated that into my grade, I think they had a pretty damn good draft because they got an instant quarterback starter who's essentially still in the prime of his career, maybe on the little bit of the back half, but he's not old man River. And they added Tutu Atwell. That one's a head scratcher to me a little bit because there were other receivers out there that I liked a little better, but they like his speed. I will just tell you this. As a guy who watches a lot of ACC football, Tutu Atwell never really scared me. He's a stick. And he can run fast, but he's a stick. All in all, where do you have their draft at?
Probably about C plus C range. It's a bit below average. I really thought they should have gone offensive line. Same with the Seahawks as well. The Rams and Seahawks both went similar directions, going with speedsters at receiver in the second round. But I think they should have gone offensive line, given Matt Stafford's injury history. I think that would have been the best decision. And if they were to go receiver, I was a bit surprised at it being Atwell. I did not in any world see him going this high. But, they already have Robert Jones and Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp's a slot receiver. So I'm in the same boat as you. I'm scratching my head over the Atwell pick. It just doesn't seem to make much sense to me. But they picked Bobby Brown. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just about to say Bobby Brown is the guy that they got good value from. I don't necessarily know if it's a major need, but in the fourth round, I felt like he was at least a third, if not a second round pick.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I was doing some research into Bobby Brown. His athleticism is crazy for a defensive tackle. His measurements at the combine were great. Or at the pro day, I'm sorry. So I think that was their best pick value wise. But overall, it's still not a very great draft in my mind. And I think they had one of the bottom ranked drafts amongst the league this year.
By the way, one of our viewers, Brian, chimed in. Marco Wilson, I forgot that's the guy that chucked the shoe at the ball game. Was it LSU? He chucked
LSU, yes, sir.
Got them the penalty that ended up costing them the game and essentially a seat in the playoffs.
When we picked them, that's all my mind went to because I'm a Florida fan as well. You know that. That's straight what my mind went to. But I think he said it himself. I think that could be kind of a learning experience though for Marco. I think he'll take that with him. Learn have some self-discipline moving forward on the field. Knowing how much backlash he got, I would find it so hard to believe he would do something as dumb as that again. But that was a tough moment being a Gators fan. So
he better not do it in the NFL.
Oh no,
yes,
definitely not.
You find yourself on the street really, really quick doing.
Oh yeah. The NFL won't tolerate that.
So, and I'm in agreement with you as far as the Rams go. It was an okay draft. Now, if I factor in, if I'm just looking at the draft picks, I call it a C. But if I factor in Matt Stafford, then I've got to give it like a B plus because
I'd bump it up to a B.
You did address the major need for that team, which was the quarterback play. They've got talent. I don't think it to the Tutu Atwell pick to me was a bit of a reach. I think they could have gotten him a little later. And he gives you some speed, but the guy, I'm looking at his stats right now, 5'9", 155 pounds.
Yeah, he's not. And, Rondale Moore, he's short as well. He's 5'7". But what separates them is that Rondale Moore, he is built like a truck. I mean, he squatted 600 pounds and as a freshman in college, it's unreal. Atwell, he is not.
Tutu Atwell is more of the build of a Devontae Smith without the route running.
Yeah, and a little bit shorter as well.
And
like 3 inches shorter.
Yeah, a little bit, not by much, but I know he's only 10 pounds lighter, but he is 10 pounds lighter. He's 10 pounds lighter than a guy that everyone says too damn skinny to be a number one draft pick. I mean, a first round draft pick. So
it's a questionable call, but who knows?
Teams thing, but you don't draft a special teams returner in the second round. So I don't know. I'm sure McVay's got some kooky Dukes theory on what he's going to do with them. But you're pretty loaded at receiver. I just didn't think that wasn't the first pick you should have made is all I'm getting at. I'm not saying Tutu Atwell won't do well, but you could have gotten him in the third round and they could have done something. There were so many good players left in the 25th pick of the second round. I just don't think he wasn't even the receiver that I had circled at that point.
Oh no, not even close. He wasn't at the top on board for receiver. No,
I'm trying to think
That's of the confusing
that I had.
Terrace Marshall.
No,
I'm not sure if Marshall was on the board then.
No, I don't think he was. I'll think of him in a second. But there was a guy that I was going back and forth. We were texting just before the Rams picked. And the Titans pick was coming up, and I was like, I cannot believe this guy is still out there. He ends up getting picked, but it was after Atwell was drafted. And I was like, really? They drafted him when they could have had him? I'll think of it. Yeah. Let's move on to the last one, the Seattle Seahawks, who for all intents and purposes punted the – I have to give this a D because they only have 3 draft picks. I mean,
their management of picks was a little bit questionable considering they went into this draft with only 3 picks. But I think they did a fairly good job with their 3 picks. I like Eskridge. He's like Atwell, a little bit bigger size or weight wise. But he's blazing fast. I think he could provide him another good deep threat along with Tyler Lockett. The Trey Brown pick, he was a solid DB from Oklahoma. And then Stone Forsythe from Florida. I'm surprised he fell as far as he did, but getting him where they did, I think that was a good value pick. So
I know who I was thinking of because he actually went. The receiver was Tylan Wallace out of OK State.
He went to the Ravens, I believe, right?
4th round, 26th pick. So
he slid far,
right? And that kid's explosive. I was a little surprised by that one, but anyways, back.
I was too.
Seahawks lack of a draft. I just got to give it a D when you only have 3 picks and none of them were in the first round. You're not doing a lot to help your team this year. I know that they lost a lot because of trades, et cetera, but the picks they made were okay, but none of them are going to, in my opinion, change the world. And I don't know if receiver was their number one need with the second pick in second round 25th pick overall.
Yeah, I agree with you. With having Lockett and Metcalf already, I don't think that was the best idea. But I think he could fit well in that offense. I think it's a solid pick. Russell Wilson's got a phenomenal arm, and he has one of the best deep balls in the game. So I think having a deep threat like Eskridge could work well in that offense. But I do think they should have targeted offensive line a little bit earlier with that pick. That's what I would have done.
So all in all, the NFL draft experience itself, were you entertained?
Oh yeah, there was a lot of surprises in the first round. Seeing cornerbacks go 8 and 9 to the Panthers and Broncos, that threw me for a loop. There was plenty of, obviously, the suspense of the 49ers pick. That was a lot of fun. So yeah, there was a lot of excitement in this year's draft, a lot more than last year, I believe, because last year kind of everybody fell where they were expected to. This year, the board felt like it was just scrambled completely. So it was fun to watch.
All right, let's go ahead and jump on turn back time and our walk-offs. Give me 1 second here. Right. Loaded up and rolling on a Tuesday morning. Got to go get my final jab. We will be back tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern. Here we go. That's assuming that the second jab doesn't get me. Okay, here we go. On this date, picked a more recent one for you since you wouldn't remember half of these other ones I usually talk about. 2015 on this date, Stephen Curry is named MVP for the National Basketball Association. It seems like so long ago when they come blazing onto the scene, but it really hasn't been that long. It's just when the Warriors first came on, they were a fun team to watch. And then I think a lot of people became anti-Warriors when KD signed, because it was a monopoly that was eventually getting put together. I can now pull for them again because he's not on the team. Nothing against KD. I don't like when you only have a couple of superpower teams. So I'm not this eventual clash of Lakers versus Nets, because I want more balance in the NBA. The NBA needs to be more like Major League Baseball and the National Football League, because when it's already known who you think is going to make the conference finals, there's no need to watch the regular season. I mean, that's it. You can't say that about Major League Baseball or the National Football League. Right now, the New York Yankees are sitting in last place in their division. I don't think it's going to sit there forever, but birthdays.
It's your birthday today. What does that mean?
Happy birthday to Miguel Cairo, 47 years old, Venezuelan-born baseball player. Had a pretty decent career in his time. And also happy birthday to Rory McIlroy, 32 years young. Of course, he won the U.S. Open in 2011, British Open in 14, PGA Championship in 12, and FedEx in 16. He's had a decent career, but all in all, I think he's been a little bit of a letdown for a guy that they were comparing to could be the next Tiger Woods. What is your walk-off for the day, young man?
Well, the NBA play-ins are getting ready to start. We were talking about LeBron earlier. He's had his criticism of it, but
he's crying.
Honestly,
he might have to play in it. Did you hear any of this junk before he was like, "Oh, I'll be the number one seed"?
I didn't hear it at all last year when he was the 1 seed going against the play-in team. So not at all.
Now he's
the script has flipped a little bit. So I think that's going to be exciting though. I think that's something everybody should tune into. It'll be kind of like a flash of March Madness a little bit, but in the NBA. So I think that'll be very fun to watch.
Isn't that what they eventually went with?
What's that? Say again?
Isn't it a best of 3 series because they want to get it over with and get into the?
I believe the higher seed has to win 1 game, and the lower seed has to win 2.
That's right.
That's what it is.
That's right. The NHL might be best of 3. I forget how they're doing. Oh, actually, I think the NHL's back to normal on theirs. I'm getting confused on what was going on in 2020. My walk-off for the day is a full slate of baseball going on today. If you're looking for some good pitching matchups that you might want to check out today, DeGrom is set to go against Oviedo of St. Louis. He's actually been pretty decent this year, so that is one that I would keep an eye on. The Braves are at the National. It is Huascar Nova versus Joe Ross. That should be a good game. And the other one that I'll put out there for folks that want something different, that get tired of seeing the same old thing, check out Cole Irvin of the Oakland A's. He's pitching pretty well this season, and he is hosting, or they are hosting, the Blue Jays. That's a pretty good litmus test for him going up against that Blue Jay offense. Bobby, great job. We'll see you next week, and I'm going to go get jabbed.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me on.
Thank you, sir.
Mhm.
Goodbye, sweetheart, well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart, goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. We're here weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.
Gonna get another cigarette.